It's an overreaction Monday, but is it an overreaction to talk about A.J. Brown's future in Philadelphia? I don't know. I don't think it's an overreaction to also say that there was some sloppy football this weekend in the NFL, and it made me miss the Eagles. And they're not sloppy football a little bit more. Phillies disappointing us. Sixers talk with Sean Barnard in 30 minutes. Trending in the AM live, taking your thoughts and opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome all to a brand new week of Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill. Wherever you are watching, it is free to do it. It does not cost you a thing, whether you're live or on replay. You hit the like button wherever it is on your screen. You hit the share button and share this show out and this channel out on one of your social media accounts, and make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. It's free. Cost you nothing. If you're watching on replay, all the things you're going to hear, drop your comments. I will respond to all your replay comments. I try my best not to miss a single one of them. As you see, I get through 350, 400 comments a show anyway, live. So, guys, please do that. Please show some support to this channel. So close. Still. Just cannot get over that 1K hump. Let's try to push forward a little harder this week, guys. I'm Phil Stiefel. We got lots on tap this week, right? Obviously, the Eagles offseason. The OC search is underway. A.J. Brown trade requests, rumors flying, and so much else going on with the Philadelphia Phillies. The NFC and AFC championship games are set. We'll dive into them throughout the week and how the Eagles can get back to that spot. Okay, that's the key thing. How do the Eagles get back to playing later into January? The Phillies disappointed us even more this weekend. And we're going to talk about it all week long. How disappointing. And then stay tuned, of course, our good friend of the show, Sean Barnard, will be joining us at about 8:30 to talk Sixers as we're 2-ish weeks away from the NBA trade deadline. What's going on with our Sixers? They're struggling lately. Do they right the ship over the next 10 days? We'll find out. We'll talk to him in just a little bit. Right to the comments. I'm a big Eagles fan. Good morning, Little G. Good morning to Duck. Good morning to Robert. Good morning to all you. Some sloppy football. There was a ton of sloppy football. Ton of turnovers and tons of excuses after this week. Guys, please vote on our poll question of the day. Will A.J. Brown be a Philadelphia Eagles player in 2026? I feel like this is going to be a poll question at least a half a dozen times. Yes or no are your options. And why is A.J. Brown the topic to kick off the show today? Why? Because one, Joe Santoliquito, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but made a report for Bleeding Green Nation on Friday or Saturday that his sources tell him that A.J. Brown requested a trade several times throughout this season. Now, Joe Santoliquito, he was the one that back in 2019, we all scoffed at his report that Carson Wentz was a locker room cancer. We all laughed at him for that. Turned out he was right on a lot of his points on Carson Wentz. And now here we are. Do we believe his reports that after a week 3 victory over the Rams, where A.J. Brown had 6 catches over 100 yards and a tutty, that he requested a trade after that? That's the report. And he did it several other times after that. Do we believe that this was done? And I've said it before. The only way that A.J. Brown gets traded is 2 things. Some team blows Howie Roseman away with an offer. Or two, he demands a trade out of here because he's going to be a problem. It looks like part two of that, him demanding a trade, has already happened. And it's going to be super interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, the A.J. Brown trade drama always gets brought up with the cap number and the dead cap hit if you trade him. And I know the numbers, and I've got the numbers. It's not as insanely impossible as people think to handle a big dead cap hit. It's not. Does parity create bad football, or is this generation of football players? I think a little bit of both. The sloppiness of this generation's football, the hero complex of this generation. This generation of sloppy football, I guess, leads to that heroes complex where they got to try to be the hero at all times. Like that interception that Caleb Williams threw, or the 9 different turnovers that Josh Allen had. Phillies go get Luis Ariz, cost less and less commitment. Very productive career 300 hitter. Look, I don't know what the Phillies are doing. I don't know what their plan is. But I said it once. I'll say it again. And it's going to be the 4th time that this turns into a short video. Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies played us fans as fools. Bo Bichette played the Phillies as fools. And the ownership and management played us fans as fools, making us believe that they were in on Bo Bichette. I honestly feel like we were never in on Bo Bichette. Good morning, Adam. Snow-free today? Well, there's still some snow on the driveway. But, yes. Good morning, Elephant in the Room. How you doing? Yes, they need a new OC. C.J. Stroud was very bad yesterday. Saw a new name pop up in the Eagles OC search. Bobby Slowick, who was C.J. Stroud's OC his rookie year. Kind of got intrigued by that name a little bit. C.J. Stroud was pretty damn good his rookie year. The sloppiness comes from the run and gun mentality of the NFL. And the run and gun mentality is kind of like a hero complex kind of mentality, right? That the sloppiness in the NFL is hero ball. And that's what separates Jalen Hurts from the rest. He doesn't always have to be the hero, and he knows that. He knows protecting the football, even though it didn't work out against San Francisco, more times than not will work out in your favor. That you don't have to throw 65 times into double teams to win football games. You go with what the defense gives you, as long as you execute better. I also think with fewer padded workouts throughout the season, that is true, for sure. Absolutely. The young players showing their youth plus the tough defenses this year showed this weekend. Absolutely. And there's a lot of good defenses still in play with the final 4 teams. 100%. Also seems techniques aren't as pushed by many coaches in the NFL. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not sure. I don't want to hear Josh Allen is elite because he couldn't win with Lamar, Mahomes, and Burrow and Hurts. Throw Hurts' name in there, Adam. Couldn't win without any of those guys out there. Look, everyone's going to think I'm coming off as a Josh Allen hater. I am not. Josh Allen is a great quarterback, but he ain't no Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen is one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL right now in the regular season. But Josh Allen came up small again. And I know I'm going to get killed. Well, Jalen Hurts has all these weapons. Well, you give all those weapons to Josh Allen. Would you then say that Josh Allen won because he had all the weapons? Would you use that as an excuse for Josh Allen? No. The goalpost gets moved in the Josh Allen argument every week, every year, all the time. And you know what? Josh Allen is a great quarterback. He just doesn't have the it factor. He doesn't know how to really, truly put it. Everyone says, oh, he carries the Bills organization. Well, he doesn't carry them far enough and never has. And may never will be able to carry them there. Now, I hope for Bills fans' sake that maybe they move on from Sean McDermott. But, man, they got to rethink how they build that team up there in Buffalo because right now it's not winning. I'm seeing tons of fans calling to trade for Allen. I called them out on their bullshit and got, look, somebody said, well, wouldn't you trade Josh Allen straight up for Jalen Hurts? I don't think it's such a clear-cut answer, trading Hurts for Allen straight up. Do we want great regular seasons? Or do we want the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl? Jalen Hurts gives you a better opportunity to win a Super Bowl than Josh Allen. He might not give you the best opportunity, win 13 games every year and have 4,500 yards passing and 50 total touchdowns. Maybe not. But I would take Jalen Hurts. I have a poll going on the YouTube page, and I have a poll on my Twitter page. It's who would you take to win one game right now? Must win, do or die, like the Super Bowl, or a one-and-done playoff game. Who would you take, Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen, just for that one game? And while the comments are bashing me because it's Josh Allen, both polls combined well over 200 votes. Over 70% will take Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen. I tagged Buffalo, so Buffalo fans are seeing it and voting as well. Just putting that out there. He scored more points than Hurts did this playoffs. He did. And yes, Jalen Hurts came up small this year. But he hasn't always. Like, Josh Allen's come up small every year, not just this year. Listen, even Josh Allen has questioned himself at this point, hence the tears during the postgame. He knew his best opportunity just slipped through his finger. It's not even all the turnovers with Josh Allen, right? He had the. Do you understand the crap Jalen Hurts would get for missing, what was it, Dalton Kincaid or Dalton Knox, whichever one of their tight ends, wide open for the game-winning touchdown? Can you imagine the Jalen Hurts hate on that one? Most important word in your statement, this playoffs. Exactly. I look big picture. Jalen Hurts has done it big picture multiple times. Hurts have a ton more playoff wins than he does. Dallas Cowboys fans trying to hype up Dak being better than Hurts because of passing stats specific weeks. Dak's 2-6 or 2-7 in the playoffs in 10 years. Hurts in 5 has got 6 wins and a championship. It's a what have you done for me lately league. That's true, except for when you talk Josh Allen, because it's not a what have you done lately for Josh Allen, because Josh Allen's never done anything, ever, lately. Got her up. Yes, we had a got her up Monday. I didn't. Well, although got her up's win yesterday did win me some money in showdown lineups. Another top 10 finish in a showdown contest of 1,000 people. Not too bad. Bad week on golf for me overall, though. Okay, I'm going to put this out there just as a point of conversation. Is this a race thing? And you know, I'm waiting for that to be brought up more on the regular. I mean, it's got to be part of it, at least to some people. Okay? It has to be. Allen had as many turnovers this playoff game as Hurts did in his playoff career. I thought it was actually more, but maybe it was the same amount. Yeah. Josh Allen should question himself. Josh Allen should be questioned. Josh Allen should be a lot of things. Okay? But he won't be. He'll be told he needs a better team around him. He'll be told that it's the coaching. The coaching isn't an excuse for Jalen Hurts, is it? And the coaching was bad this year. Love how Hurts first Dak conversation. Dude, whenever a Cowboys fan tries to bring up Dak Prescott and argue that he's better than Jalen Hurts, it's just comical. It really is. It's truly a comical thing to do. It's ridiculous, and I love getting in those conversations because they're nauseating. How they act towards their team. They're so blinded by the light. The way Eagles fans talk about Hurts, you would think he's the best quarterback ever and a sure thing Hall of Famer. Well, he's the best quarterback in Eagles history at this point. He's the only one to take their team to 2 Super Bowls, 5 straight years of winning. Nobody's had the track record in Philadelphia that Jalen Hurts has had, ever. Okay? Hell, Nobody in any of the 5 major sports in this city has had the track record of success that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles have over the last 5 years. None. Maybe the 08 era of Phillies, but that's it. I agree it is a silly conversation. Dak keeps signing with Dallas, but says he wants to win. Well, yeah. I think the mad chatter is very mid or below mid this morning. I'm sure he's a little under the weather with how his Bills season ended again. Because he's worried that we're all going to say, I told you so on the Bills and Josh Allen. Is it a race thing anymore versus people trying to grow their media presence? That is a fantastic question or point right there. It might not be a race thing where they hate on Jalen Hurts and they drool all over Josh Allen constantly. It's that there's a million Tom, Dick, and Harry YouTube accounts and social media accounts, just like Trend in the AM, right? That they want the next clickbait thing to boom, to have a video go viral instead of just having a conversation like me. That's what they want. So they hate on Jalen Hurts because it's good business, right? What's good business? That's what you do. You do what's good business. And bashing on Hurts and not bashing on Josh Allen is good for business. Well, I'm going to bash on Josh Allen and say that Josh Allen is not the best quarterback in the NFL. That's true. We haven't been, for a quarterback factory, Philadelphia hasn't had a lot of great quarterbacks over the decades, over the centuries. I get that. That's fine. Even our best quarterbacks had flaws, including our current one. So if Hurts wins another Super Bowl, does that give him the same Hall of Fame convo as Eli? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. He's not. But there's a conversation to put him in there. But he's going to get that gold jacket. He might. I'm not sure if he does, but he might. Hurts is better than Allen. I mean, in what fashion, Robert? I'm not going to sit here and say that Josh Allen is, or Jalen Hurts is a better thrower of the football. Isn't bigger, stronger, faster than Jalen Hurts. But what makes you a great player? The winning it factor. Winning. Oh, but wins aren't a quarterback stat. Oh, of course. Now, again, changing the goalpost. Jalen Hurts wasn't winning. You'd say people would bring up, not you, people would bring up his win-loss record. Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback. Josh Allen is the better athlete football player. A quarterback is supposed to lead their team into battle. Supposed to be the captain. And that's what Jalen Hurts does. Better. And that's why he's there. Is Brett Favre not truly a Hall of Famer because of all the interceptions he threw? I think it's an argument to be made that Brett Favre is a great career comp, kind of stylistically speaking, to Josh Allen. Why don't we call Josh Allen what he is? The best gunslinger, right? Because gunslingers are going to miss sometimes, right? Shooters going to keep shooting out of their slump. Josh Allen's going to keep throwing out of his slump or running. Now, Brett Favre won a Super Bowl. Will Josh Allen even play in one? It's not trending in that direction. Has he been in the league now? 10 years now? I'll believe it when I see it. Josh Allen is referred to as a Hall of Famer, never been to a Super Bowl. How can Hurts not be in the same convo? Less years in the league and way more winning production, less flashy, but the results. Look, Terry Bradshaw wasn't flashy. Won 5 Super Bowls. I'm not saying Hurts is going to win 5 Super Bowls, but no one talks down on Terry Bradshaw, his Hall of Fame credentials, because he was carried by a great defense, right? Do they? No. Eli is currently a finalist for 2026, yes. I don't think he gets in, but this year at least. There's a chance Hurts has already peaked if that's so. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer? As long as he keeps winning at this peak, maybe. Now, if he completely falls off, that's another subject, Elephant. It's funny. I always say the trending in the AM is the people's show, where we talk what you guys want. I set the conversation on A.J. Brown drama, and we have gone off on a 15-minute Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts conversation. And don't worry, stay tuned. 10 minutes, we'll switch the page over to the Sixers with Sean Barnard joining us. Main word there is finalists, yeah. So you think if Hurts was on any other team, he would get this much hate? Yes and no. It depends. If he was on another team, having the success he does in the style he does, absolutely. Absolutely. But he's not going to necessarily, if he went to another team's not going to have Jeffrey Lurie or Howie Roseman doing what they do best to make this a winning organization. Brett Favre is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He absolutely is. Threw a lot of interceptions. Only won one Super Bowl. Maybe if they build a team around him like most teams. Exactly. Look, the Sixers are still a hot, trending topic. They've lost 3 of the last 4, but they're still a damn good basketball team. The trade deadline is 2 weeks away. Lots is happening in Philadelphia with this 76ers team. So we talk trending topics. And next year, people will still say Josh Allen is more elite than Jalen Hurts. They absolutely will. Defo. They absolutely will. Back in the day, it was said Bradshaw couldn't spell cat if you spotted him the C and the T. Yeah, maybe. But you know what? He's got 5 Super Bowl rings and a Hall of Fame jacket. All right? Josh Allen will never be elite. He is an elite quarterback. Look, I don't want to take anything away from him. I'm not taking anything away from him. Josh Allen, though, also does not know how to win the big game. You think the Phillies are in on Cody Bellinger? I think they're sniffing around. I think they're talking or listening. Do I think, what did I read, that the Yankees have an offer on the table for him and they're not going to raise their offer? I think it's like about $30 million they got on the table for Cody, and they said they're not going to overpay yearly like teams have for Bo Bichette and Kyle Tucker. If Cody Bellinger hasn't signed a $30 million a year deal, the Phillies are definitely not matching or going over that. So to that sense, no, I don't think the Phillies are in on Cody Bellinger. Now, if I find out the Phillies signed Cody Bellinger, it's going to be because the market wasn't what reported for him. And it's because they signed him to like a cheap 2-year deal or something like that, with an opt-out or something like that. Yeah, and the Flyers lost 6 in a row. The bandwagon is starting to get light. It is. And the Flyers have a goalie problem again. It seems like it's only the 20th time that in the last 10 years that we've had a goalie problem. Last 40 years, I don't hate Hurts. I just don't think he's great. If he's great compared to what I saw in the past, then, in my opinion, the state of the quarterback position has eroded. It just depends on what you want out of your quarterback. Hurts wins more games. Clean and simple. Finally, TMC is in the chat. I already said it. I don't expect much interaction from you this week. You are in a state of Groundhog Day where you know and knew that this was going to happen. And here it is. It happened. You didn't believe it, but you knew it was happening. The last time the Flyers had a good goalie was Ron Hextall's first tour of duty, which was what, late 80s, early 90s? Last time they had a good goalie. The Eagles win more games. Okay? All right? And who's in charge? Who's the leader of that team? Jalen Hurts. The Bills win a lot of games. Josh Allen gets credit for all the wins, but gets no blame for any of the losses. Jalen Hurts gets no credit for the wins, but gets blamed for all the losses. Again, goal posts moved when it's Jalen Hurts versus Josh Allen. And quite frankly, it's annoying. It's crazy. It's ludicrous that that's what it is. This was the best chance for Allen to win it all. Historic roadblocks were not there, but didn't step up. Exactly. Hurts hasn't peaked yet. Honestly, that there's a chance that that's the case. We won a lot of games and a ring before Jalen was here. So what does that say? We won a lot of games and a ring. What are you talking about? We did win a lot of games before Jalen. We're not talking about before Jalen, are we? We're talking about now, comparing Jalen to Josh Allen. Hurts gets blamed for wins because it didn't look good. The ugly win stat, right? How many of our wins are ugly? And guys, we're finally getting a little bit of a boom in viewership today. If you haven't, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it out. Sean Barnard in a few minutes and vote on our poll question. 18 people in the YouTube room, only 15 votes, and only 11 likes, guys. Hit those buttons. Greatly appreciate it if you do that. The Philly media brings a lot of the hate for players. They steer the hate, or they steer the conversation towards hate. They absolutely do. You got people like you, Douglas, out there making negative comments constantly, and people listen and people believe them. Phil, what do you do? Hurts is safe, makes a few throws, does not turn over, but doesn't make huge plays. Okay? Would you rather playing it safe and winning a championship than gunslinging and not? Just asking. I want my quarterback. You look at all that. You look at the losses. I mean, C.J. Stroud, Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, the turnovers this week and the sloppy play. It's insane. I don't care how the win looks. It's a win. It's how he loses. Okay, and how did Josh Allen lose? How many turnovers did he have on Sunday or Saturday? Philly sports media, we've heard it direct from the source. They are instructed to say things that they don't believe. Absolutely agree with you, Marky Mark. And I think this is the bigger story. The Eagles blew a great chance to repeat. If you watched any of those games last night, the Bears and the Rams, you watched Seattle, San Fran. How we lost to San Fran blows my mind, right? Seattle was not that special on Saturday night. Chicago was not that special. The Rams, so beatable. To think that Seattle or Los Angeles are going to be in the Super Bowl pisses me off. And on the AFC side, the Patriots probably are going to be my pick to win the Super Bowl now. But that's not saying too much. You're not going to trust the Broncos. It's crazy. That whole Broncos thing, Bo Nix going down, that's brutal for the Broncos right there. Allen does it all, touchdowns, tons of yards, but throws up on himself half the time. Yeah. You got the wrong one. I blame Allen all the time. Okay, good. You should. What's up, Brianna? How you doing today? Josh Allen gave his team a chance to win this season. Our quarterback did not. He gave them a chance to win. So the loss is not Josh Allen's fault. See? You're moving the goal. Him having 5 turnovers is not his fault. Guys, we're going to put the Eagles, we're going to put a plug in the Eagles, okay? We're going to put a plug in the talk about Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, even though that was not on the topic, because joining me on the I Have No Sponsor hotline, we got the great Sean Barnard. Good morning, Sean. How you doing?
Good morning, Phil. What's going on? Appreciate you having me.
I appreciate you. I'm glad to have a reason to get off. I had an agenda of topics, and 2 minutes into the show, we got into the classic doldrums of talking Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts. So save me from the Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts talk for the next 20 or so minutes.
There you go. Happy to help with that one. Got plenty of thoughts myself, as that was quite a football game. I'll just say this to wrap up your quarterback conversation, is I feel far more secure about Jalen Hurts being the quarterback of the Eagles after watching the level of quarterback play across the board this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great way to sum it up. And we'll get back to it after we're done here with Sean. But Sean, obviously Sixers kick off another stretch of games. They had a couple days off this weekend. They start tonight. I was looking at their next 10 games, a very interesting stretch. Obviously, They were 6-4 in their last 10, but they've lost 3 of their last 4. To me, shooting has been a big issue the last couple games, especially with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Thoughts on the Sixers? Kind of, I don't want to use the word struggling lately, but just a little hiccup in the road that they've seemed to hit right now.
Yeah, it feels like we entered the season with such like a lack of expectations that sort of that the expectation is sinking in a little bit. That all of a sudden these guys are excited or expected to win these games. That there is this level of what there is, to expect from them on a night-to-night basis. And I think that has sort of crept up on them. I think we got a couple outlier Tyrese Maxey shooting games in both the matchups against the Cavs, which I don't expect to continue there. I do think the minutes are taking a little bit of a toll on them, still leading the league in minutes, and I think that's a factor to consider right there. But ultimately, I still think this team is sort of settling into who they are. When we had all this success at the start of the season, it was this youthful movement where when you think about Joel Embiid, who still was available at the start of the year, he was on the hard minutes limit and honestly using them up in the earlier part of the game. So he was not available for a lot of fourth quarters in those type of situations. So now it's figuring out how can you actually maximize things with the entire team together. And I think they have hit some growing pains with that.
You talk about the minutes with Maxey, and I think that's a huge thing. I think he's just getting a little tired. His legs are, need a little extra. Obviously, Jared McCain got sent to the G League, and
yeah.
You could talk about that all different ways. But the thing that I love about the G League, I don't want to use it as a demotion because it's not a demotion, is the fact that if he could get his shot back, if he could get some of that confidence back, that he can help take some of that minute load off of Tyrese Maxey in a week or two. If all of a sudden, I know he didn't perform great, his shot was not on yesterday with the Blue Coats, but don't you think that it's not just getting his shot back, it's helping take some of that workload off of Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah, and I think Jared just needs minutes, man. Like, I'm still a big believer in Jared McCain in the long run, but it's a really tough spot to be in. Like, the thing that I don't think he's been given enough grace for is not only his season ending last year due to the meniscus tear there, but missing training camp due to the torn ligament in his thumb. And I think that's the bigger factor of him. When he had a success with this team, it was largely Jared McCain just doing whatever Jared McCain wants on the court last year. That there was no Joel Embiid and Paul George being injured. VJ Edgecombe wasn't here yet. Quentin Grimes wasn't traded here yet. So it was kind of the Jared McCain show to try and find a way to fit in alongside these guys without having training camp and preseason to sort of ramp up and figure out how can you play off each other and all these kind of things. It's a tough task. And I do think like he's in a tough spot where the Sixers team isn't quite bad enough where you can like command that he deserves minutes to get back to that. They're still coaching to win every single game. So I think it's a good thing for him in the long run that he is taking a little bit of G League time to just play free basketball to the style that he wants, get as many reps as he wants. He didn't look great yesterday. I would leave him down there for a little bit until he gets his timing and finds his rhythm again. But in the long haul, I'm still a believer in who that guy's going to be and hope that results itself by the end of the year.
And back to the Maxey minutes, is there something that Nick Nurse can currently do before Jared McCain, if he even becomes available? Is there anything you would like to see Nick Nurse do that would kind of also alleviate? Like, I know he's your best player. What's he third? Is he still third in the league in scoring? I think I know he's tops in minutes. Yeah. Can you see a way that Nick Nurse can redistribute the minutes with the guys that are performing well to maybe that load a little bit more? Because I've been saying it since, what was it, the first 3 games of the year, he played like 45 minutes a game. I was saying it then that was going to backfire.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is a Nick Nurse thing. Like, this has been him throughout the duration of his career. Like, you look back at like the Kyle Lowry numbers during his prime. Fred VanVleet led the league in minutes a ton of times when he was the Raptors coach like that. So Maxey's a guy that can take a significant level of minutes, and this is sort of what Nick Nurse likes to do with his point guard. But with that said, I would absolutely prefer. I think there are situations where you can spot him a little more. You can trust VJ Edgecombe to run a little bit of offense. You can allow Paul George and Joel Embiid to be like the focal point of a half-court set right there. So I think he could do a better job of spotting him. I don't necessarily expect that to change. I think even if Jared McCain was his full self, this sort of is just the way that Nick Nurse goes about it, and I think we do got to accept that to some extent. I think Maxey is a guy that can take a lot of minutes. I would prefer if it was a little bit less than is the current outlook.
At least drop it down to like 37, 38 occasionally there. You mentioned VJ Edgecombe, and obviously there's a lot of talk about VJ Edgecombe's maturity for a rookie. And you've got the troll internet sites out there and the troll media accounts out there. There's obviously a video of Maxey and Edgecombe the other night on the bench, not going at it. I'm not saying they were going at it at all because they weren't. But I think that just right there is another video of proof of the maturity of a young VJ Edgecombe as a rookie to being able to have that conversation in public like that with Maxey and work things out. It's just such a good positive sign of things moving forward for the Sixers team.
Yeah, I love everything about it, to be honest. I think it's cool that that video got captured there. I think it's
Yep.
cool that these guys have that level of passion. And for what it's
Mhm.
worth, like if these were two players that sort of had characteristics of, not taking responsibility or not great teammates, it'd be one thing. It's the exact opposite for both of them from a reputation standpoint.
Mhm.
And I think it's cool that they are comfortable enough at this stage to sort of have that argument on the bench. I think every guy ticks a little different. And I like that that's sort of the new vibe that's being encouraged here. I think for the larger part of the past decade, there's been a little bit of this like aloofness or lackadaisical nature that sort of is stuck to the Sixers team. That seems to be changing. That there is more intensity. Tyrese Maxey's been given a ton of praise from a number of people within the organization for the way that he's scaled up his leadership this year. Maybe not the most glowing example of that, but I think that does go to say like he's sort of earned the right to do that right there. So looking at the specific play, I do think Maxey was in the wrong on the situation. So I know people are critiquing
Yeah.
him for that. But nonetheless, I largely think it's a huge positive that those guys are having the conversation.
Yep, absolutely. So tonight is actually game 41. I just double checked that. We are at the halfway point. I had you on at the beginning of the season. Now I got you on here at the middle of the season. Trade deadline's coming up. We'll get into that in a minute. But you mentioned a few minutes ago about how there were no expectations. I said I still have no expectations. They're sitting at the 6th spot right now in the conference. They are not that out of it in the sense of they're 2 games from the 3 spot, 3.5 from the, the 2. Like they're in contention. The Sixers team. Have you changed your expectations? Have you started to put expectations on the Sixers team? Or are you still like me? Just hey, whatever happens. It's just a gravy season.
Yeah, I've let them sneak in on my end here that like you see the top end flashes where this team, when you squint and look at it, it's like this could be a contender. This could be a team that is an Eastern Conference threat. And I think a lot of times when I say that, it's a little bit less about the Sixers directly and more about the wider scale of the Eastern Conference is every single team has flaws this year. That there is not like I think the top 4 teams in the NBA are all in the Western Conference, and that creates an opportunity that you can win this conference if you have a chance. Like you go down the list, a team like the Celtics, obviously Jason Tatum not back, and they've played above their heads to this point. The Detroit Pistons look awesome, but they're sort of unproven, and I think I have some doubts about their shooting in the postseason. Curious to see how they approach the trade deadline. The Bucks are a disaster. The Cavs look like a disaster on a lot of nights, although I do think they are a bad matchup for the Sixers in particular. But to bring it back about the Sixers directly, I'm now at the stage where you have to take care of business against the bad teams. When you look at the East for the same reasons, the 3rd seed and the 8th seed are probably going to come down to a difference of a handful of games by the end of the year. So they have to capitalize on every winnable matchup, like tonight against the Pacers. You got to step on a bad team like that. So I've allowed expectations to creep in a little bit to myself. We still need a larger sample size of this team at full strength. But the way that Joel Embiid is showing some old school flashes, the way that his availability is far better. He's played 9 out of the last 10 to this point entering tonight. I'm encouraged. I think it's impossible not to be encouraged by what we've seen this year.
Let's talk about Joel Embiid here for a second because, it was all about ramping him up, getting him healthy. Why did I say ramp up? I hate using that word there. It was all about his health this year. And I'm getting to the point where I feel comfortable when I see him on the court. I'm not worrying about like when he falls down and does that little grab his head thing like he always does. I'm not worried that he's not getting up. And while we say this is Tyrese Maxey's team, he's the leader of this team. The success of this team still goes through Joel Embiid. You know what I mean? The big long-term prognosis of this season is Joel Embiid. And he's showing some of that glimpses out. Do you think that we could put more expectations on Joel Embiid himself, this season on what he should do to help carry this team?
Yeah, I mean, the first question that needed to be answered in regard to him is what does he still have in the tank physically this year? And largely, I've been wildly impressed by what that level has been. He is at a peak, like physical level that I was skeptical he could return to, and that's a huge positive sign. And with that, we've started to see the impact as a player. The dude can roll out of bed and score 30 points at the NBA level, and there's still like issues defensively. He's not nearly what he once was. There's flashes of it returning, and that's certainly an area that needs to continue to improve. That if we are evaluating like where's the biggest hole in this team, it was true for the large part of Joel Embiid's career that regardless of the 4 players around him, if he's on the floor, it's going to be an above average defense. That's no longer the case. That guys are not scared of Joel like they're used to. I mean, in that back-to-back Cavs match, I felt like he got dunked on like 10 times, and there is just a level of top-end athleticism that he doesn't possess like he used to. And that's something that they're going to have to combat. But like, I see the questions about like, can they move on from Joel Embiid and Paul George? The answer to that is honestly no. Like, I don't see a team signing up to, pay Joel Embiid $70 million 3 years down the line from now, based on all the reasons that why they would look to move him. And when you're kind of factoring in, like, can you get a top 5 guy? Your best chance of that is still Joel Embiid, as impressive as Tyrese Maxey is and as encouraging as VJ Edgecombe is. So you got to find a way to make it work. It hasn't been perfect, but in the larger scale, I have to be like incredibly encouraged, and I'm hoping it just continues for Joel.
Do you think, I think this is something that just popped in my head. Now I'm really thinking hard. I don't even have an answer. Did we quit on Joel Embiid being a dominant force too soon, potentially?
I think a lot of people did, to be honest with you. That, like, I mean, the bottom line is it wasn't that long ago that the dude was undeniably a top 5 player in the basketball, like less than 2 calendar years. That the year after his MVP season, when he did these meniscus issues really flared up, that was the most impressive stretch of individual basketball that I've ever seen. His numbers by every single metric was better than the MVP season. He was scoring like 40 points in 3 quarters and sitting out in the fourth while dominating defensively. The block numbers were off the charts. The steals were off the charts. That was one of the best individual basketball seasons that have ever happened in NBA history. And it will be lost in the record books because of he only played 39 games or whatever it was. And then he's been down this pathway. So I think we do have to give him a little bit of like the benefit of the doubt of he really did deal with some like tough physical things. You can never really put yourselves in the shoes of what does it feel like to jump when he is at the level he is and whatever he's dealing with his knee. So I think a lot of people mailed it in a little bit too soon. And I'm happy for Joel that he does seem to be having fun this year and still has a little bit of the old version of himself in there.
We're coming up, about 2.5 weeks till the NBA trade deadline here. I can't believe we're already at the trade deadline at this point of the season. Like I was shocked when I just looked to see that tonight's the halfway point. I can't believe how quickly it's going. Before we get big picture into the trade deadline, obviously with the Sixers, I'm just going to start. I think I commented on one of the shows you were hosting on your network about the backup to Joel Embiid because the expectations for some are shifting for this season. And to me, still the biggest weakness on this team is when Joel Embiid does not play. Not the 12 minutes in a game based off of matchups, Drummond for 10 minutes this game, Bona for 14 minutes this game. To me, that works. But it's the games that Joel Embiid do not play. And you said it before there, spot 3 to 8 in the East is going to be a handful of games. Those games Joel doesn't play are just as important. Do you think, like I do, that maybe, I know 4 center sounds crazy, but they need something else at center for those games when you have to play Drummond and Bona at the same time?
Yeah, I do think that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, like the archetype of player that I would really be looking for is a guy that during games could share the floor with Joel as well, like sort of a power forward center type tweener. Jay Huff is a guy that pops to mind for me. I don't know if the Pacers would part with him, but that style of player who can space the floor offensively is a really good rim protector and on not that crazy of a contract right there. That's what I would be targeting right there because I do have my doubts about in the long haul, can Joel Embiid be a guy that is capable of like carrying an elite defense in the way that he used to? And can you pair him? Like to use Nikola Jokic as an example, a larger reason I've been critical of Jokic through the larger scale of his career here, it's really important to me to have a center that can set the tone defensively and be the anchor like that. I don't know if Joel can do that, but to the credit of the Nuggets, they found a guy like Aaron Gordon who's capable of taking on those type of responsibilities. I think the Sixers got to try and dig in that same bargain bin, find a guy that can play next to him and set the tone like that, and then be the guy when Joel's not there. So it's easier said than done to find that specific player, but that's sort of the type that I would be searching for.
Well, the deadline is coming up, like I said, and I keep pushing this point outside of, Joel Embiid backup. I'm not crazy against the idea that the Sixers make no moves. This was kind of like one of those pivot years. Let's see what Joel's about. Let's see what the rookie VJ, what will get out Jarrett McCain, all these different things. Like, would it be crazy to just save your one or two? Because what assets do they really have to really improve the team? You got the Clippers pick, which is going to be a huge pick, and you got Jarrett McCain, and that's all you really got of uber value right now. Is it crazy to ask Daryl Morey to just sit pat right now?
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a relatively quiet trade deadline. I think they'll do something, and what I mean by that is largely Eric Gordon's a guy who just sits on the bench constantly. I can't imagine he's thrilled, and it was sort of a we scratch your back, you scratch ours deal for him to come back from the standpoint of he had a player option. He opted out of that. They gave him a minimum contract, which was more friendly against the cap and made Eric Gordon a little bit more money. I think sort of one of the handshake agreements is they will try and find a place for him to go. So maybe you can get something as like a flyer for it. But I think the way the Sixers approach this trade deadline will basically tell us all we need to know for how optimistic they are about this team. There are some like salary cap stuff to look out with as far as the luxury tax. They try and cut tax, which I think is a pretty likely pathway there. The guys that I would keep an eye on for being moved would be Andre Drummond and Kelly Oubre Jr. It'd be a bummer to me because I think both those guys have been far better than expectations this year, but I don't think there is going to be this massive blockbuster move. I think it's going to be in the margins to save a little money and kind of spin that. And I will also note, I would not trade Jared McCain under any circumstance right now. You're absolutely selling on a low point for the guy. I still believe in him in the long haul. It doesn't have to be he's an impact player right now or you trade him. You can sit on your hands with him for a year, give him a full season to get healthy and see what he's got next year. That's a pathway I think they should take with that.
I'll add one thing to that. There's no guarantee that Quentin Grimes will be your top guard off the bench next year. If he's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this year, you lose Grimes because obviously the Sixers didn't see, what did he want, $20 or $25 million a year?
30 he wanted.
30. Okay, even worse than I remember. Yeah. Like if they weren't willing to give it to him last year, they're probably not willing to give it to him this year, and somebody might. So McCain becomes your top guard off the bench next year. You got a lot of fringe guys, like you say, Gordon, Drummond. Marshawn's asking about Watford. What happened to Trent Watford? I mean, the injury kind of took him out of the rotation. Is there a situation where we got Watford, you got Walker, you got Barlow, who I love Barlow and all, but it's running out of options. Do any of those young guys that have been on the outside kind of the rotation, not the key guys, but part of it, do any of those guys get moved, or do any of those guys see an increase in minutes if they move some of these other guys?
Yeah, it's interesting that I think all these guys are a little bit of a matchup basis that Nick Nurse is sort of going to play the hot hand with them. As far as Watford, I do think injuries are the biggest reason why he's fallen out of favor with it. I don't think it's been anything particularly with play. He's a very interesting player. I really like the minutes against the Cavs where it was Embiid and Watford on the floor together. Really good playmaker for his size, and I think that's helpful to have when you can have guys like Maxey flying off screens, running off ball. So I think Watford is going to, see his role grow a little bit in the second half of the season. Barlow is a guy I would absolutely expect to be upgraded to a standard contract in the coming weeks. There is an interesting timing. Shout out to Adam Aronson of the Philly Voice, who's done a really good job of tracking this, but they are basically walking a fine line from the financials of they have to hit a specific date for when they upgrade them for what that prorated contract will look like against the salary cap. But ultimately, Barlow's proven far too important for this team to risk that. He's going to get a standard deal by the end of the year, but there is sort of an art to the timing. So all these guys have some pros. I think that's the number one thing that I would lock in is Barlow's going to get a standard deal.
So, and I'm just going to ask you this. You're going to teach me here because I don't know contracts and NBA rules. If they upgrade him from a two-way, do they have to clear somebody else off the roster for that?
So they entered the season with 14 guys instead of 15, and this has been sort of a Daryl Morey trick that he's done for a couple years now. And there's a couple reasons for that. The number one is obviously you're saving money by not having that 15th guy and counting against the cap for a different number because of that. So there's a little advantage there. It also gives you a little flexibility if there's a 2-for-1 trade or a 3-for-2 trade that materializes that you can jump on that without having to shed guys. So what's interesting about the two-way contracts here is largely the design of them and how most teams use them is on young players that you're hopeful for but don't really have a role. The Sixers have sort of approached this differently where they get guys with as much experience as you're legally allowed, which is 3 years of NBA service, of guys that they think can be impact players. Dominic Barlow has been the starting power forward pretty much from start to finish for this year, but they have him on a two-way deal just for flexibility there. So it's kind of a little bit of a cap intricacy, but ultimately that's kind of the deal with it.
You mentioned Daryl Morey's name, and I had Ryan Rothstein on the show last week, and we were talking Eagles and Phillies, but then as I was kicking him off, he's like, we got to talk about your bad Daryl Morey takes from years past, on another show. And now, you mentioned Daryl Morey's name. I got to say, you know me. We've worked together a lot. We've interacted a lot. I've always been a very big anti-Daryl Morey guy. Could we arguably say that this was his best offseason maybe ever with Philly, maybe ever, period? I mean, he really put together a team that has kind of changed our perception of the organization here.
Yeah, and it's funny when you talk about Daryl, like, I think the reputation he gets is this star hunter trying to always make the blockbuster move, the big move here, and there's some truth to that, but I think his most impressive work is the stuff within the margins, the bottom of the bench guys that he finds. A guy like Barlow, who's absolutely a diamond in the rough. His draft track record has been ridiculously
Yep.
impressive. Even a guy like a Dembona in the second round, I understand he's not like a perfect impact player, but that's a huge success based on where you took him in the context of that draft. Edgecombe's been awesome. Maxey's been awesome. You can run down the list of like the right decisions he made. So I am a Daryl Morey guy. I understand that he gets critique, he gets hate, and he's not perfect, that he has his flaws in the way that he does break things down. There's misses that he's had here and there, but largely I think he's a far better general manager than the bulk of the NBA and does deserve a little bit more love for that.
I mean, I regret doing my before he got the vote of confidence. I was doing a short video series day one of me calling out Josh Harris till he fires Daryl Morey. I think I went 24 days before I had to stop doing that. And yeah, I regret doing it because he's proven me wrong. And you bring up a point: his drafting and look, his big home run trades haven't really worked out, but his drafting has. That Clippers pick, I want him to hold on to it. I trust him far more drafting with what that Clippers pick could be than trading it for whatever. And so I want him to hold on to that pick.
Yeah, I agree with that, and especially with, like, there's this changing the guard in the franchise that Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe are going to be, the foundation of this team moving forward. When you talk about a 2029 first-round pick, and, like, that could be the third piece to, a star trio or the real future of the team, and it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes down. I'm certainly not a rush, and the Clippers have turned things around a little bit this season. They've been really intentional about timing Kawhi Leonard and James Harden's contracts together, so they all go off the books at the same time. It's going to be interesting to see what they look like as a team. But yeah, that's one of the more valuable assets in the league, and I'm certainly in no rush to move it if I'm the Sixers.
Real quick, at the halfway point, where's your new, you said your expectations are changing. Should we change our expectations? Should we expect not just a playoff appearance, but a playoff run from the Sixers team?
I think we should expect there to be a top 6 seed. That should be the goal for the second half of the year. As you mentioned, they're currently at 6th exactly, 22-18, so 4 games of above 500 there. They're directly tied with the Magic. It's the Cavs, Raptors, Knicks, Celtics, and Pistons ahead of them. I think they could leapfrog like the Cavs and the Raptors right here. I don't want to slip into that play-in mix. And then once you get in the dance, like from a matchup perspective, I feel good about them beating a team like the Raptors in the first round like that. I'm not particularly scared. Even a team like the Knicks, they've looked horrible lately, man. And it does feel like they're self-imploding a little bit. You can sign me up for a pathway to the playoffs, which is Raptors, Knicks, and then all of a sudden you're in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I know we're getting ahead of ourselves by talking that much, though. So my goal for right now would just be...
You're reeling me in here with this, changing the expectations. Who would have thought the year that we put no expectations was the year that maybe they get past the second round? Who would have thought that?
Yeah, it's funny how it always works out. And again, there is always this like in the back of your mind, like Joel Embiid could tweak a knee and all of a sudden everything changes and we're kind of breaking things down. So we shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves. But the goal that I would set for the second half of the season here is let's make sure we're locked in and focus on getting a top 6 seed because I absolutely think this team is capable.
All right. We're talking with Sean Barnard here, mostly Sixers, but I want to get 2 questions in here, non-Sixers, before I let you go. You can give me really quick answers if you want. Question one. Who you predict the Eagles offensive coordinator will be. And obviously we got a little football game going on tonight. And you do your gambling work right there as well. Do you got a bet or a pick on tonight's national championship game, Indiana versus Miami?
Yeah, I do like Indiana to roll tonight. That I think it's going to be I wouldn't say blowout. I think Miami, the defensive line, will give him a little bit of a battle. That they'll push Mendoza in a way that he hasn't really been this season. They've kept a clean pocket, done a really nice job, and Indiana's been a wagon. But ultimately, when push comes to shove, I think in the second half that this gets out of control. So I'm laying the points with Indiana. I do think they take care of business with that. And as far as the offensive coordinator, and do have a couple write-ups on that on DraftKings Network, so you can check out some deeper dive as well. And then as far as the Eagles offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel's my guy that I would absolutely love that to be the hire. I don't think it's going to happen. It wouldn't shock me if he gets a head coaching opportunity. I was reading about the Tampa Bay Bucks OC might be a job and then try and be the successor to Todd Bowles or something that he seems to be eyeing. But I would throw everything at him to be like the true offensive mind of this. I think my honest prediction, I think it's going to be Brian Dable. That I think that is going to be the decision that is made right there. And I can live with that as well. There is the Jalen Hurts connection from their time back in college. I do think that he did a little bit of a better job in New York than he sometimes gets acknowledged
Mhm.
for right there. And he is a guy that I think maybe isn't head coach material, but when you just give him an offense to work with, that he can have some success. So I would still love McDaniels. That would be my option A, and I'm not hiring anyone else until I get a direct no from him. But I think Dable is going to be the guy.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with you on both things. I think Dable's going to be the guy. I think Indiana rolls. Mark's saying slam the money line. I'm not even wasting time on the money line. I'm taking ESPN. I just checked. ESPN's got it at 8.5 points right now.
Yeah.
I'm taking that. I didn't watch a single Indiana basketball or football game until the Big Ten championship.
They're
And
good.
as soon as I watched that Big Ten championship, I'm like, just put it all on Indiana. I don't care what their path to a title is. I think that's it right there. I know I said I'll let you go. We got another question here, though, for you specifically. McCain, the next Brunson with respect to losing potential all-star because of trade or cost cutting.
I hope not, man. Like I'm very much of the mindset is I'm not moving this guy right now because I don't think that there is a path. Like if it would be one thing if there's a clear missing piece that it's like if we can get this guy, this changes the outlook for the team. I don't really see that even with like a Joel Embiid backup or something like that. I'm holding on to Jared McCain is the way that I'm approaching things. I would hope Daryl Morey is thinking in the same direction, but if he is moved, I do think he's a candidate for this guy can blossom in another situation. But I still hope it's Philadelphia, so I'm not trading him. I hope Daryl Morey thinks the same way.
I appreciate it. Sean Barnard here on the I Have No Sponsor hotline. What do you got on tap? Obviously, you got some articles on DraftKings you said for the Indiana championship game tonight. Obviously, your podcast group, everything else going on. What's on tap this week for you?
Yeah, I got 3 articles dropping on Crossing Broad tonight, so I got a little bit of a deep dive on the way that Jalen Hurts has sort of stopped running the ball and the rate that was the case this season, the why for that. Also, some thoughts on VJ Edgecombe, who I considered the glue of this Sixers team as their outlook, and then sort of just a brief write-up on that little interaction on the bench. So I got those all dropping on Crossing Broad today. We'll have some stuff coming out on DraftKings Network, and then still cranking out content on Sixers and Phillies Digest on YouTube as well. So those will be coming out. We're keeping on pushing. Always something for sure.
Yeah, Mark, we all love Crossing Broad's work. We really nothing excites me more than the regular Jacob Media versus Mike Missinelli lawsuit update every month that Kincaid drops. It's my must-read article every single month right there. But you guys do a great job. So
it's incredible the way that Kevin gets like the access and the know for all this stuff too. So my hat's off to him though. He's got his sources. He finds the information right there. Does a really nice job with all that stuff. So shout out to Kevin.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin. Sean, thank you very much for your time this morning. We'll do it again soon. Hopefully the Sixers keep trending upwards here, so the next time you're on, we're still in the positive mindset when we talk this team.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me, Phil. And yeah, I'm always happy to come on anytime.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sean.
Awesome.
That was Sean Barnard right there on the I Have No Sponsor hotline. Lots of comments to get to, obviously. Lots of talk that we've happened. I tried to stay up on the comments. There were some good ones that I missed there, obviously. But this comment from Mark just like literally 2 minutes ago, Scott Leffler going to slide in what? To be the offensive coordinator of the Eagles? I would highly, highly doubt that, Mark, that Scott Leffler will be the next offensive coordinator for the Eagles. Highly, highly doubt it. Obviously, there's some new names. Obviously, Zach Robinson interviewed. Jim Bob Cooter interviewed this weekend. It's another name. Crazy. I agree. McDaniels, why I don't want him, is probably their top choice. And there's some other names floating around. Slowick, some other names out there. Scott Leffler would be the biggest shock there is. Hurts got married is why. Wife told him don't take stupid hits because she wanted him to be there completely for the next 50 years. Yeah, I don't know. Good morning, NE Sports there. How you doing today? We're talking Eagles. Let's reset this. You're watching Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. If you have not, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share. We got a poll question. Will A.J. Brown be a Philadelphia Eagles player in 2026? Yes or no? The reason for the poll question, we'll try to get back to this A.J. Brown conversation here, after spending the last 30 minutes talking Sixers here with Sean Barnard, is because Joe Santoliquito from Bleeding Green Nation put out an article with his sources saying that A.J. Brown requested a trade up to 3 times this year, including after their Week 3 victory over the L.A. Rams, which is crazy that you would request a trade after your team won a game that you had 100 yards receiving and a touchdown, but supposedly he did. Now, Joe, for those that don't know, is the one that broke the Carson Wentz drama story in 19 that we all bashed, and he was obviously right on his story in a lot of aspects. Do we believe this report? And I've said it, and I'll say it again. The only way A.J. Brown is out of here is either A, out after a massive haul is offered to Howie Roseman, or if he demands a trade. Now, could A.J. Brown wait to see who the next OC is and how the offseason starts before he redemands it? I don't know. A.J. Brown is a prima donna. To me, he's a distraction to the team's success because he's more about himself and his own personal stats. He is a prima donna. He's a diva. Every elite wide receiver in football is a prima donna and a diva. That's the thing. Is he a distraction? It wasn't a distraction last year, his antics. We won the Super Bowl. Turned out to be this year. And yes, he does care about stats, his own thing. He wants to be great. He wants to be known as an all-time great. I'll go back to this way, okay, on A.J. Brown. I am not trading him unless he demands a trade. I'm not trading him unless I get a haul, because replacing his talent level is near impossible, okay? He's that special of a player. He's elite, plain and simple. And despite all the drama in 24, book club, A.J. Brown's book club drama, okay? Despite all that, they still voted him a team captain this year. The teammates voted him a captain, which tells me that the drama is not his in the locker room. In my opinion, what Howie says to me he's probably not trading A.J. Brown unless he gets great players in return. Yeah, like somebody on Twitter yesterday, or not Twitter, maybe on YouTube, I forget, commented on something of mine about A.J. Brown. Said, well, you know, when you get a second and Christian Gonzalez from the Patriots, you can't say no. The Patriots aren't offering their second-round pick and one of their starting cornerbacks. I stand by it. A late second, early third, at straight up is the best you're going to get. I'm looking at, here, I've got a website up with an article. It's Fox Sports. It's just reset now. I think I got too many tabs open. But this article goes into depth of every elite wide receiver that was traded over the last, 10 years. Diggs twice, Devontae Smith, Julio Jones. Julio Jones, when he got traded for the Titans, went for a second and a fourth. And that's like the max you'll probably get. You're not getting a first for him, not with the drama. Not getting multiple picks, first and something else. That's for sure. I mean, you'll get more, like Amari Cooper when the Browns got him from the Cowboys. He went for a fifth and sixth. You'll get more than that. You're not getting a Tyreek Hill type haul for him. You're not getting a Marquise Brown. The Cardinals gave up a first-round pick for Marquise Brown in 22. So you just never know what a team's willing to offer for somebody like him. He probably requested a trade after the Rams game because he had great numbers. Yeah, it's weird. A.J. Brown will be here in 26 because he is still the best wide receiver on this team. I love Smitty, but they need the body guy, and A.J. is the body guy. Absolutely. I'm glad you didn't say he's going to be here strictly because of the dead cap, because I am prepped, statistically speaking, for all the dead cap talk, okay? And the cap hit will not be the reason why A.J. Brown stays here. The Eagles already set the record at one point for the biggest dead cap hit in history with Carson Wentz. People don't realize this. We had 80-some million in dead cap this year on our team. There's renegotiations up the wazoo that could be done and extensions. The salary cap will rise if a team if the Patriots called and said, we'll give you this year's second and Christian Gonzalez, Howie Roseman will take the cap hit, deal with it, and make the trade. But otherwise, they're not doing it. I saw an A.J. trade idea that the Eagles would trade A.J. Brown to the Bills for a third and a bum-ass Khalif Shakir. No, Howie Roseman's not doing that. That's not a blow-me-out-of-the-water type trade to Howie Roseman. It's not happening. Eagles seems to have more winning success and put up more offensive points when they balance out their offensive run and throw instead of just gunning the ball to A.J. all game. Absolutely. And you need an offensive play caller that could do that, right? If A.J. Brown likes the new OC, he will stay. I don't think he liked Patullo. It's weird. I really wish I was a fly on the wall in that locker room or in some of the private meetings because they all say the right thing about Kevin Patullo. Not one person. Actually, the worst statement made about Kevin Patullo was by Jalen Hurts when he was asked about Kevin Patullo, and he said, well, that's up to coach and Howie there. I'll leave that to them to make that decision. That's crazy. And not one other person has even like subtly like said something negative about Kevin Patullo. Nooms has pointed out that AJ needs to move to more flexibility workout than what he's been doing. Yeah, I mean, look, I heard what Nooms was saying. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure. It was funny when AJ didn't play the offense ran smoothly. It's kind of funny. It is. By the way, Marshawn, how you doing this morning? Hope you are well. Saw your comments coming in during Sean Barnard there. Jalen does not make that throw that Caleb threw. He's far too missionary to take that risk even at fourth and season. You're talking about the touchdown pass to Cole Kmet or the interception to end the season? Look, I mean, Caleb Williams, you guys know I'm not a Caleb Williams guy. Caleb Williams over the last month or two has impressed me. Caleb Williams has some moxie. Caleb Williams has some of that Jalen Hurts it factor in him. I wouldn't say Jalen Hurts does not make that throw. I think he could make that throw. I don't know if he would. He could make it. Would he actually let the team be in a position to have to do that? Would Kevin Patullo call a play that doesn't have just four straight, out routes or straight go routes? That's the thing. Your offensive play caller has to call a play that gives that opportunity there. I don't know. Hurts' second half struggles have lasted through multiple coordinators. Yeah. Hurts doesn't take risk, which is a plus and a minus. Yeah. You look at all the risks taken this weekend in the NFL, right? Look at all the turnovers in the NFL this week. Would you rather him take risks and turn it over? No, we'd complain that when he did turn the ball over, we complain. When he doesn't take risk and doesn't, we complain. Eagles fans, media, everywhere, always changing the argument when it comes to Jalen Hurts. The interception is on DJ Moore, who, for whatever reason, stopped running. Yeah, that's what the announcers were saying in that there. I'm not sure. Williams' quarter 4 touchdown was one of the best I've ever seen in a playoff history. I don't know, best all time, like top 5 or anything like that, but it was a great throw. Clutch throw from a young quarterback. You know what I took more away from last night's game? Bears game, that is. And that was Ben Johnson. That was his play calling. That was his, who works under Ben Johnson that we can hire as our next OC? Ben Johnson offense was smooth, was creative, was executed. Go get me the next Ben Johnson. I don't know who that is. I don't know if there is another Ben Johnson out there. But the biggest thing I took from last night's game was the difference between Ben Johnson and Kevin Patullo. Then where the fuck are our deep throws over the middle? He used to throw them. They just weren't called this year. The explosive plays for the Eagles this year were brutally low. And that is something that Nick Sirianni loves from his offense. And we didn't have them. Now, we had attempts at him this year. A.J. Brown stopped running a bunch of routes this year, dropped a bunch of passes this year that would have turned into big, deep throws and explosive plays. But it just wasn't a focal point this year. Jalen only throws in a straight line. The lack of ability to protect the ball by these teams this weekend was eye-opening. I don't want to hear about the weather. I agree. I saw one of the fumbles this weekend in the bad weather. And they're like, oh, I think it was Drake May. It wasn't the weather that made him fumble the ball. He got hit by bad pass protection, by not feeling the rush coming from behind. Hurts can make his throws The problem is that the OC is calling plays that doesn't get the receivers open. They don't get open. They're not schemed open. Hurst can make every throw in the book. Chicago have lambasted this defense. Love Uncle Vic, but Ben Johnson's different, man. Let me tell you something. Again, I am not a Caleb Williams guy, or at least I wasn't. I'm working on becoming one. But Ben Johnson, damn. That was eye-opening, we'll just say. That was Collinsworth covering for his boy. DJ Moore did nothing wrong. Of course. I agree with Adam. Brown needs a new OC, and he will be fine. I hope so. Jalen likes the comfort of the sidelines. That's what he only throws on the outside vertical. I hope that was a joke because I don't know. Yeah. We never know when Marshawn's joking or being serious. That's the problem. Boy that cried wolf one too many times. Maybe I need more coffee on. Yeah, man, totally forgot that today was Martin Luther King Day. I knew it. Thought about it last night. Thought I should write myself a note, and I didn't, and I forgot. So happy Martin Luther King Day. I hope the A.J. Brown drama or rumors are true. If we can get an extra first-round pick or a big-time pass rusher like Trey Hendrickson. You honestly think you're going to get a first-round pick for A.J. Brown or Trey Hendrickson? Do you? Because I don't. The drama, his age, he's been banged up a little bit more. His effort level that's in question at times. You are not getting a first-round pick for A.J. Brown, in my opinion. Was Cole Hamels better than Roy Halladay? Cole Hamels' Phillies career was better than Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay only had 2 great years in Philly. But those 2 great years that Roy Halladay had in Philly were greater than anything that Cole Hamels ever did in any 2 years. Maybe 08 was pretty special for Cole Hamels, but 09 he struggled. So I would say Cole Hamels was not the better pitcher, but his career in Philly was better. If that makes sense for that answer. Wasn't expecting a Cole Hamels question today. But there, gave you my random answer. That's what I mean. He's comfortable throwing vertical on the outside because he can always throw the ball away. Gotcha. Patullo's gone. You can stop shitting on him now. We are. We're never going to stop shitting on him. Jalen far too missionary to try anything different. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe he likes to get freaky once a month. You never know. Yeah. We don't know if Kevin Patullo is gone, by the way. Nick Sirianni did not say that Kevin Patullo was fired from the Eagles. Just said he's not the OC anymore. And he was asked in his press conference whether he'd have another role in this organization. And while he said he'll be a great NFL head coach wherever he goes next, he did say also, we'll see whether he'll have another role in this organization. It's Kevin, Brian, and Nick's fault. But his success, but he didn't have success under Shane and Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore and Shane Steichen get all the credit, and Jalen Hurts gets all the blame the other years. Again, double standards. A.J. Brown is younger than Trey Hendrickson. I know that. That's fine. How we will call Andrew Berry about Garrett? He might. Hamels has a ring and a World Series MVP. How can Roy Halladay be better? I mean, no hitters, perfect ball games, Cy Youngs. I mean, just that 2-year stretch of him here in Philly was the most dominating 2-year stretch I've ever seen a Phillies pitcher have in my lifetime. Okay? Hamels does have the ring in the World Series MVP, and Cole Hamels, 2008, was a special season. And his career, I just said it, Hamels is the better Philly. Roy Halladay was the better pitcher over his career. Keep the main thing also. Hulu has more live sports. So now we hate him because he does a commercial. At least he hasn't done one of those Cure Auto commercials, okay? Patullo has taken over the Eagles social media account just to haunt Tuck, has he? Jesus. Missionaries how his dad does it, how America does it, and God damn it, it's the way Hurts will do it. Yeah. Patullo has already been offered another position in Philly. He's been given the offer to look for OC's positions elsewhere. I actually don't think Kevin Patullo won't get another chance to be an OC, but he'll be an OC under someone like Ben Johnson, a head coach that calls plays, where KP's job will be basically designing the plays, installing the offense in practice, etc. Kevin Patullo just can't be told to call plays, but he can be an offensive coordinator. He obviously has respect as an offensive mind, as a passing game coordinator, etc. I mean, he was here under Kellen Moore. He was here under Shane Steichen. He's had success in other roles. I really think how he's looking at Garrett and thinking he can't waste away in Cleveland. Do you really think the Eagles will go for a big swing? Like a Garrett, a Hendrickson, a Max Crosby? When you got Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt still under contract? When you could be, in theory, bringing back Jalen Phillips a lot cheaper than it would cost you to have Garrett or Hendrickson here? I don't know. Anything other than missionary is... Jalen will never be held accountable without the OC sucks narrative. It's not true. It's not true. Jalen Hurts is held accountable. My biggest beef that makes me stand up for Jalen Hurts, that makes it seem like Jalen Hurts can do no wrong in my eyes. The reason why it sounds like that is what I say about Jalen Hurts is because all I want is the other quarterbacks in the league, Josh Allen's of the league, the Lamar Jacksons of the league, to be held to the same standard that Jalen Hurts is. Big picture. The thing is, Jalen Hurts gets criticism up the wazoo, but the others don't. It's always everybody else's fault with the other quarterbacks in this league. But every time the Eagles don't win a Super Bowl, it's Jalen Hurts' fault. Hell, he wins the Super Bowl and can't get credit for winning the Super Bowl. It's always somebody else. That's the problem I have. That's why when it sounds like I'm glazing Jalen Hurts, it's just because I want the standards to remain the same. They don't play for Philly. It's not just Philly, though. It's nationally. It's other cities. It's everywhere. When you have Philly fans saying they prefer Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts, when Josh Allen has had just as many failures, if not more, than Jalen Hurts, but it's not Josh Allen's fault to Philly fans. It's crazy. I believe how he will spend on defense and draft offense. Okay? And it's possible. It's possible. Hendrickson's a free agent, isn't he? Garrett you'd have to trade for. Crosby you'd have to trade for. It's very possible. And look, there is going to be, I know right now we're like 18th in salary cap space. There's going to be money to spend. The salary cap's going to go up $20 or $30 million, as always, maybe more. You're going to renegotiate and or extend a half a dozen players. They're sitting at like 18, 19 million right now in cap space. I don't know if that counts the rollover from this year, which I think they had like 5 million in rollover. The Eagles will have money to spend. And if they find the right way around certain things, they might have a lot of money to spend. Patullo could be in this chat on a bird. He could be. He could be. I recognize all these accounts, though. I don't think Hendrickson is enough. Maybe the edge rusher is Jacksonville. He played at Georgia. Yeah, his name was bounced around. Why am I not thinking of his name right now? His name was bounced around a bunch at the deadline for the Eagles. It was. So maybe. We'll see. Hey, I'm trying. There's a difference there. I don't know if there is. How did Buffalo score 30 points? I don't know. How did they score 30 points? Did they win the game? That's the question. Did the Bills win the game? Because that's all that matters, right? Scoring 30 means jack shit when the other team scores 33. Having 5 turnovers in a game or whatever it was, not acceptable. But see, again, you're sticking up for Josh Allen. You're making excuses for Josh Allen. But hating on Jalen Hurts. Why would any player have loyalty to a city when the city takes every opportunity to shit on them? They are sorry about it when they leave and have a better careers or continued success elsewhere. Big games, I prefer Jalen over anyone. I mean, anyone, but to get there, it's 16 games. Well, it's 17 games. Do something when shit is not going right. Problem with Jalen is he never has the solution or part of the solution. I don't know if he's not part of the solution or doesn't have the solution, but I get it. To win the big game, you got to get to the big game, right? And again, that's why I said earlier in the show, before Sean Barnard joined us, Josh Allen's the better regular season quarterback. There is no doubt about it. But if I have one game on the line, if I need a quarterback for just one game to win it, I'm taking Jalen Hurts. And the majority see it based off of polls on YouTube and Twitter that I'm running. Most people agree. Meanwhile, Jalen couldn't score against a defense that gave up over 40 the following week. Yeah, there's a lot wrong. I have not given Jalen Hurts a pass. But you're giving Josh Allen a pass for last night or Saturday night. It's kind of crazy. A.J. Brown wants to play with a quarterback that can sling it. He should go to the Chargers. Then what would be Justin Herbert's excuse? Did the Eagles win this game in Super Bowl? Did the Eagles win the game in Super Bowl 52? They did not. The Bills fired McDermott. Let me go check the breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. I mean, I'm not surprised if they did. They should have a long time ago. I don't see it on Twitter yet. Let me refresh Twitter here. Maybe it'll pop up the most important news stories. George Schultz saying the Eagles will interview Bucs OC Josh Giddert today. I see that breaking news. I do not see anything yet on Sean McDermott. I do not see that anywhere. But he should be fired. So I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, maybe it did happen. Jalen was Superman in that game, but did he win it? He did not. Being Superman doesn't mean anything. He outplays Mahomes and loses the game, right? So it doesn't mean anything. He outplayed Mahomes the second time and won the game. That's what matters more. AJ can suck his contract. His contract is a big problem. The dead cap is not. I can outlie away around the dead cap money big time. I'm not sticking up for Josh Allen, just throwing shade at our punk-ass QB. You're nuts, Elephant. You're completely nuts. Okay? Trayvon Walker, that's the name I was thinking of. His name was bounced around a lot, for sure. He never is part of the solution. Twice now we have seen this team collapse, and he never did anything of significance to change the course of the team. Okay? Does Dable now let... You know, if the news is true and McDermott is rightfully fired by Buffalo, then, yeah, he could be in play for Miami. Obviously, he's got for Buffalo. Definitely could be in play. I'm gonna look up Adam Schefter's Twitter account real quick just to confirm it. Not that I doubt you, RW, but I did not see it at first online. So let me check up here on Adam Schefter's Twitter page. Adam Schefter just tweeted out 3 minutes ago. They have fired Sean McDermott. Probably 2 years too late, but good. That opens up another head coaching opening. Obviously, the Atlanta Falcons have already hired Kevin Stefanski. So we're back to, what's that put us back to 8? We had 9, 2 got fired. So we're still at 8 head coaching openings. So, yeah, that's interesting. It does make Joe Brady available maybe now. Interesting. Another offensive coordinator potentially. He's a coach's son and will not go against coaching decisions. He could have said no to the play. He tried to say no, but Sirianni kind of said go with it. Yahoo Sports has it. Got it. Good. Should have been fired a long time ago. If Sean gets fired, Joe Brady becomes... I just said, look, we're like on the same page here, Mark. Joe Brady becomes available. It's interesting. Another name. The other thing about T.O. is if he got the contract AJ got, he would have settled down and become a good soldier on the field, maybe. Who will hire Brian Flores? Buffalo? Somebody should hire Brian Flores. Somebody should. Follow Adams as well, and that's what I've seen. Okay. Good. Hey, we're all good. I just like, before I say it and clip it out, I want to confirm it, But it does look like it happened. Good. It's about time. Jalen didn't want to play in the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny as the halftime show. That zesty energy is bad for his Leave It to the Beaver brand. Is that what it is, Mr. Man? It makes sense to fire Sean. Cannot get over the hump, and they are opening a new stadium. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he was unless they got if they would have won and gotten blown out next week, he might have still gotten fired. I think anything short of a Super Bowl appearance, Sean McDermott was probably getting fired. For sure. Brady is a good and innovative OC with a running game, passing game mix. He was didn't he fail? Who did he coach? Was it the Chargers? I know he failed as a head coach. But Joe Brady, sure. I'll listen. And you know what? The Eagles have to rush to get their OC, but they also have to do their due diligence. Last year, we didn't hear about any interviews. It was just, Kevin Patullo, you got it, right? We've already heard Zach Robinson, Mike Kafka, Jim Bob Cooter, Brian Dable, Charlie Weiss, Mike McDaniels, names all thrown around. Joe Brady, we got more names today coming in. Get these interviews done. I hope by the end of the week we've got our new OC, right? But use the whole week to interview everybody, right? Make sure you get your guy, though, before Stefanski hires an OC, before whoever else hires their OC. Get these things done and get them done quickly. That should be the goal. Let's see where we're at here online here. No, any new subscribers or the like numbers here? No new subscribers yet today. That's disappointing. We're up to only 16 likes on this video, guys. If you haven't, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this out. Please, please, please. ESPN reported it too. Yeah, look, yeah. Now it's confirmed. I've confirmed it. It's confirmed. Sean McDermott out in Buffalo after, what did they say, 9 seasons. Josh Allen will get a new coach. We'll see what that means for Josh Allen going forward. Whether it makes, how much will Josh Allen play a factor in the next coach? Dabo will be the Eagles' next OC. That's who I want. That is my choice. Now, does he become a head coaching candidate with Buffalo now? Maybe. Maybe Joe Brady just gets promoted. Maybe. Brady can show Hurts how to cheat like a Hall of Famer. What? We're not talking Tom Brady. We're talking Joe Brady. Different offensive coordinator. Or different football. A large portion of this fan base thinks that Jalen Hurts is better than Dan Marino, all because Jalen has a ring. Jalen Hurts is a better big game player than Dan Marino. Dan Marino, like Josh Allen, is the better quarterback. I don't think what we're saying is crazy. There's a difference between being a big game player and being a great player. Jalen Hurts has the it factor. Where am I at? Just came across Patullo as the next Bills head coach. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Go for it. I don't want Dable. Need to find out his role was in Hurts' benching Alabama. Yeah, you'd have to figure that out. And that'll be discussed in the interview. I'm sure it'll be discussed. Are you and Jalen on the same page? Can you be on the same page? Etc. But Dable, to me, is a very good, comfortable pick. I think he gets a bad rap for the Giants. Some of it deserved, some of it not. I mean, I'm looking at some of these other names that they've interviewed, and I just feel like they're looking and they're interviewing everybody, but they have two ideas. They want McDaniel, if they can get him. If they can't get McDaniel, they want Dable, and if not, they're going to go with some safe pick, like a Mike Kafka or a Jim Bob Cooter, who has a connection with Shane Steichen and who has a connection with Nick Sirianni. Sure, they would take a chance maybe on a Charlie Weiss, maybe, but maybe not. Thoughts on Jarrett McCain to the G League? We talked about this with Sean Barnard when he was on the show. It's a great idea. Very important that Jarrett McCain goes down, gets some minutes to get his shot back, get his confidence back. Biggest issue over the last 4 games with the Sixers has been Tyrese Maxey shooting struggles, which comes from being tired. Get McCain back into form so he maybe can take 10 minutes off of McCain or Maxey. Yes, we're discussing that right now. Keith, Sean McDermott fired after 9 years. I judge quarterbacks by wins. Hurts is a winner. That's what I do, Mark. Laces out. Didn't Dable get Hurts benched at Alabama? We don't know whether it was Nick Saban's call or Brian Dable's call. Nobody knows. It's never been said for sure. Hurts is a guy that holds grudges and feeds off of it. Even if Dable did play a direct role, it was perceived he didn't stand up for him. I could see it not working out. That's possible, Mark. You might be right. But in theory, what Dable does, I think would work here with the weapons we have. I got Tua to look like a vet. He did. I would hire Jim Bob Cooter just for this name alone. Yes. Obviously, he failed as an OC at one point. He did okay at other points. Very safe, boring. Outside of his name, very safe and boring pick for OC would be Jim Bob Cooter. And that would keep Nick Sirianni and his influence on the offense since they come from the same background. Dable has to have his sights set on Buffalo now, though. I mean, that's a very, very strong possibility. I don't know what Dable's feelings or what Buffalo's feelings are towards him and what his is towards the organization after he got, he left to be the head coach of the Giants, but I don't know where the reputation is or the relationship is at this point. Dable also made Dart look like an NFL quarterback. I don't see him having a long career under Harbaugh. Yeah, look. I don't see Jackson Dart having a long career for period, no matter what. I think Tua is uber talented. He's just injury prone. I never saw Tua to be uber talented. Talented, not uber talented. And then injuries on top of that. What if Jalen was kidnapped by Jake Elliott? Does Jalen handle that as well as Marino did? Oh, my God. What is wrong with you? That's so bad. Weird, funny, everything. What's up? Yeah, 17 likes. We're getting there slowly. Slow start to the week. Allen makes too many bad decisions, but the media never criticizes him. Keith, it's been the main topic of this entire – I want it to be A.J. Brown talk, but this has been the main topic of the show. Dable also tuned up Allen, so it can't be horrible, yeah? He got Josh Allen to be the unbelievably great quarterback that can do no wrong. They hired Jim Bob Cooter. I get a jersey that says Cooter on the back. Everybody will be wearing Cooter jerseys, right? I don't see Harbaugh turning the Giants around. I do not either. I think he is going to be a bust, not because he's not a talented coach or a good coach. I just don't see him figuring out that organization. Greg Roman and Todd Monken are the Vic fan. Look, Todd Monken was 1. Greg Roman was 2. It seems, I don't know if they've officially announced it, but it's the Giants, but it seems like John Harbaugh is bringing Monken with him. It hasn't been confirmed. I mean, they didn't confirm Harbaugh till Saturday or Sunday, technically. But Greg Roman got Colin Kaepernick to the Super Bowl, got Lamar Jackson his first MVP. I'd be perfectly fine with Greg Roman. I have not heard one report, though, that the Eagles have interviewed or scheduled an interview with him. Only Cooter that matter is a good old boy. Dable does need an OC chair before reproving himself as a head coach. He's really flamed out and was paranoid and a hothead as a coach. He was a hothead. He knew his time was coming. He was trying his best to get extra hot to save that job. Why he wanted to save that job, I have no idea. If I was him, I would have wanted out of there so damn quickly. But anyway, what's on tap this week? Doesn't A.J. Brown have a no-trade clause? I do not think he does. He does not. He can be traded. And to settle to finalize the A.J. Brown conversation, I think the Joe Santaquito article holds some weight because his reputation is successful in these kind of reports, that he does want out. That's the only way he gets traded is if he wants out and we get an offer. And the dead cap will not. It's not confirmed about Monken. But all expectations are that Monken will be his OC because he got fired, Harbaugh, because he wouldn't fire Monken. Never spoke about Mike Clay back as special teams coordinator. Yeah, look, they did announce Michael Clay back as special teams coordinator. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Our special teams this year was very inconsistent. Obviously, our kicker regressed or declined. We had some big blocks, which are flashy, but our coverage teams were very inconsistent. Our return game, especially on kickoffs, was bad. It took till Britton Covey came back for punt return to be good. But Michael Clay is re-signed with the Eagles. Too damn cold in Buffalo to be a coach. You have to be like Leonardo DiCaprio in Reference. Doesn't A.J. Brown? Yeah, no, he does not. Dable's relationship with Allen might get him the head coaching. If they have a good relationship, yeah, it could. You've got to think that Jalen Hurts in the OC search of the Eagles and Josh Allen with Buffalo's head coaching opening, both those quarterbacks have to play. When you have a franchise quarterback and you have a coaching opening, head coach, offense coordinator, quarterbacks coach, you got to think the quarterbacks have to at least be in the conversation. They don't have to have the final say. They don't have to have the third to final say. But their opinions on what characteristics should be important to the coach hire, they need to be discussed. And if Dable and Josh Allen have a great relationship, it's got to be listened to, right? If Jalen Hurts wants a certain type of offense coordinator, you got to look at it, right? Yeah, I don't have that handy. I'm probably not. Not on the air. Maybe after the show. McDermott gone. Yes, we are discussing this. It brings a little bit of hope to Josh Allen's second-round choker. You changed his name again. Yes. You're no longer Josh Allen's wasted career. You're Josh Allen's second-round choker. Got it. Well, McDermott's gone. Now you got to hire a new OC. We'll see what that's up. Now, I know what you meant. I'm just saying there is no trade clause in his contract that I am aware of. I am not aware of that. But anyway, what else is on deck this week? I do not have any other guests other than Sean Barnard lined up. I was trying to get John Stolness on. We're hitting a roadblock on scheduling here to talk Phillies. Obviously, the Phillies will be on the conversation this week. They play us like fools. The Sixers will continue. The Eagles OC search will continue conversation-wise this week. And as always, all offseason long, all day, every day, we will obviously continue Jalen Hurts praise and hate on this show. Because it doesn't matter what I make the title of the show. Jalen Hurts hate always becomes a part of it. I don't think I've ever read it all. Obviously, clips and little quotes that I see online, but that's it. All right, I think my coffee's empty now. So despite there 18 people watching at this moment, unless there's like a million comments come flowing in, I'm going to get this show wrapped up for the day so I can go get more coffee and, get started on the rest of this day. Got to get started for the Amex now. Got to start prepping for Amex. Or the AT&Ts this week. The AT&T Pro-Am. That's what I got to start prepping for. Anyway, with that being said, guys, if you haven't liked, subscribe, share. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you very much, Adam. Muchas gracias to everybody that's participated today. Thank you very much to Sean Barnard, our guest. I'm going to clip out the Sean Barnard interview and have it replayed on the channel later today as well. So make sure if you missed the Sean Barnard portion, I will share out just that portion later today, guys. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this baby up at an hour and 38 minutes today. Stay tuned. More content coming. Sean Barnard. You got Eagles check down later today. Shorts galore. And, of course, Fairway to Heaven tomorrow at 6 p.m., guys. Everybody have a great day. Go Birds. Always. Bubbles up.